Let's get started. Stefan, yes, if I'm not sure if you saw the GitHub, but we always will post the recording on YouTube. We'll put a link to it in GitHub. We'll put the meeting notes in GitHub as well for every meeting. So there's a repository started there. Obviously, there's not much since this is only our third meeting, but we'll keep populating that. Um, Agenda for today in terms of projects and priorities that we want to go over. We wanted to talk about the indexer, get an update on that, talk about NFT staking requirements, talk about Passage Archive node and some front end design, marketplace updates. And then if there's other priorities, we can discuss them and then open it up for questions, comments, anything else. Does that sound good?
E.
All right, well, let's start with an indexer update. So Max from Cloudnos has joined us. The bounty got approved a couple of weeks ago, so that's all moving forward. So Max, I'd love to hear where you guys are at on that.
Sure, thanks. So yeah, we started working on it. It's moving at a pretty good pace. We created the indexer, starting to implement the custom indexer for contracts and stuff. And we're also waiting for the archival node, which I believe is being taken care of. I'm talking with Lex about it. And I just wanted to also at the same time talk to you guys about the requirements for like the things that needs to be fixed ASAP to make sure we do them first and implement them first so you can start using it as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is it like
Maybe we could
the NFTs, the API endpoint to get NFTs on the marketplace? I'm not sure if
think so.
uh,
I think that's the biggest thing. Um, yeah, because I was trying to pull up your proposal so I can see what there's. I mean, there's definitely some things in here that I was trying to figure out what are the things that like we don't need up front, but it really just is like as quickly as we can replace the existing infrastructure, right? Um, so like I don't know. I mean, the API is that something that's essential to being able to uh, 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 we don't necessarily need the API, do we, to be able to display the NFTs on the front end?
yeah, because that's what the front end will be calling. It's the API. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, of
But
course.
it doesn't
So
need to
okay,
have like all the endpoints that we would ideally want in the
yes.
future.
Yes, I agree. And maybe that's the key is just figuring out what information do we need. Because for instance, some of the things we talked about were like, USD equivalents, so historical price values and things like that. We don't need any of that right now because obviously some of that stuff will just be used for analytics. Um,
Yeah.
and maybe some of the things that we actually, there's probably a very small list of things we actually need to index just to replace the existing functionality, right? Um, like
Correct.
sales, mints, listings, and delistings and transfers. Like it's pretty much these four things on the list of contracts indexing. Just sales, mints, listings, delistings, and transfers. So like those things, and then again, same thing with the API calls that like yeah we wouldn't need to be able to provide the same endpoints, right? All we need are those four endpoints initially. So yeah, it's probably not that like there isn't a feature that we can cut off this list because it is. I think this is a really good scope. Um, but maybe we just don't need everything from that feature right away. So yeah, we still need the indexer, obviously, and the API. Um, but yeah, I think what we're indexing and the endpoints you create for the API can be more narrow at the outset.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, we'll get that done as soon as possible, and I'll talk to you asynchronously with just see if everything matches the requirements.
Cool. Um, yeah.
Did you get? Do you have an ETA on like the archival node by chance?
No, we will talk about that today. That's part of our agenda for today, right, BK?
Yeah, I was actually hoping Anil from Bitwit would be here. So we've talked to a couple of different teams. We've spoken with Cosmos Station and Bitwit, and Bitwit is interested in hosting the archival node. They're going to put together, I think, a proposed bounty for what it would cost them to run that. And so we should have that information soon, and we would move forward that bounty through the steering committee as soon as possible, knowing that it's a blocker for the indexer, which is underway. It doesn't look like Anil is here right now, but we can definitely get that posted within the steering committee group and on GitHub once we have the information from him.
Yeah, one thing I dropped in the chat, this was something that Max had shared with me too, was this is a service that does these types of nodes, and it looks like they would offer an archive node for Passage. Again, it's something we'd have to contact them out. There's no like, they have a hosting cost for a full node as a service, but that doesn't include hosting the archive node. You can derive the archive node from the full node, as I have learned in my research, thanks to Max. But we'd still need the full node, so we'd still have to get in touch with the all nodes team. But it is another option. It's something that they do as a service regularly, so could be a sustainable and predictable option to include as well.
Definitely. And we can compare these things, I think, when we get more information from Bitwit on what they're anticipating it would take.
Perfect. But we will prioritize that to push that forward this week and next week so that we can get that as soon as possible so you have that to work with.
Okay, great, thanks. We can still work on the indexer without it. It's just if we want to have the historical data, we're gonna need it.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be instances where that's important for testing, transactions or chain data that we need to be able to index. Yeah, totally.
Cool, thanks. Well, that's pretty much it for our update. If you have questions, don't hesitate.
Great. Yeah, we'll I'm not afraid to bug you, so we'll reach out.
Sounds good.
Well, let's talk about NFT staking next. We've been working on some requirements internally for what's needed for NFT staking, and we wanted to form a SIG around that and see who within the community might be interested in work. Had previously worked on the NFT vault at Passage that we will be reaching out to get them involved and see if no one else from within the steering committee or the SIGs are wanting to work on this. But Lex, I've put this up on GitHub now. Let me just drop the link. But maybe you can talk
Perfect.
through like what is the purpose of this and what do we need?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so what I have in here is we have the existing NFT vault. So this is what the current contract does for us. You can specify a minimum stake period, an unstaking duration. So once you have reached the minimum stake period, if you decide to unstake, how long does it take? And then once you stake the NFT, it moves the NFT to the vault contract, and so it can't be transferred or listed to sell. So it still knows who is the owner of that NFT, but it is no longer in possession of the marketplace contract, the CW 721. So you're not able to do those normal functions like transferring and listing and things like that. Then you can unstake the NFT. Then you'd have the unstaking duration. You can restake the NFT during the unstaking phase, and we do have hooks in that contract for calling other contracts upon completion of staking. So we can have this contract trigger other contracts for events to happen once somebody has completely unstaked an NFT. What we don't have yet, this current vault doesn't provide for pairing NFTs from different contracts. So currently isn't any way to, and that's because the vault as it stands is meant to do one thing really, really well, right? Which is locking up an NFT. And you can make 100 vaults, but right now there isn't a way, so you could stake 100 NFTs, but there isn't a way to stake two NFTs together so that you can't unstake one separately, right? And that is the goal of this. And I do think this is a generic enough concept that I think there's a lot of other projects that could do something fun with this mechanic. So I do want what we create here, as much as it facilitates the Strange Clan community, the bigger goal has to be, for the sake of the Passage marketplace, facilitating other collections as well. So I do think being able to stake multiple NFTs from multiple contracts, even thinking about the Chihuahua community, which is already inside of the Passage marketplace, they have multiple collections, right? There's a lot of projects that have multiple collections and could do some fun mechanics if they can lock up two NFTs from different collections contingently, so together. So the idea me and Mike had, and again, this is subject to feedback from whoever might be working on it, is that this would be a new vault with the same functionality, except we have a vault that basically allows you to stake pairs or whatever, any number of NFTs from any number of contracts. And again, having this be separate just kind of like limits any potential vulnerabilities or risks or things like that to this contract. And letting each contract basically do a more narrow set of functions. And then the next thing we would need is a staking contract that basically picks which vault to use, right? So if the creator has specified, I want just people to stake one NFT from one collection, and again, this doesn't preclude them staking 10 of their NFTs, but it's really how many collections are they staking from, right? So if it's just one collection, then they grab a single collection vault. If it's multiple collections, they grab a multiple collection vault. And so this contract would do that. It would pick which vaults to use based off of the creator input. And then I think, so we've been thinking about the egg staking mechanism for Strange Clan and really wanting to do it in a way that is more broadly useful for other collections. And I think the best way to do this is actually to have the contract, this new contract, emit a deposited IBC token at a specified rate during the staking period, right? So not during unstaking and not once it is unstaked, but just during the staking period. And the creator would have to deposit those tokens into the contract. So the contract's not responsible for creating the tokens or even knowing what the tokens are, just for holding them and emitting them. And I want creators to be able to deposit more tokens over time, right? So even after the contract is created, being able to top up tokens in the contract. And the idea here is that I think this is actually a better mechanism for the eggs because it does two things. It allows people to be incentivized early on. With the current mechanism that we talked about, where basically you stake your NFTs and then the last person to unstake their egg and their character has the highest odds of getting a rare item. Basically, somebody who simply forgot about their NFTs has the same benefits as somebody who's been staking for 2 years, right? And we don't want that. We want people to be incentivized to take action early on, not to just wait to stake, but to be staked for a long period, and to get benefits for doing that. And the goal would be that we would have something along the lines of people are incentivized to stake early on because they will get like a token that represents, you know, in the Strange Clan world, special crystals, right, to use on your egg that will allow it to hatch, or when you do unstake it, allow it to increase the chances of it being more rare, right? Things like that. And we could have basically, you could, with these tokens that you get from the egg, from staking your egg, you would have at different periods of time, we would release these crystals. And basically, the more of them you get, the more likely your egg is going to be rare, right? But there is this kind of like chicken race happening because you might have somebody who there is still, it's not just this kind of like endless period either, right? There will be an end to us doing those crystals. We can do it over the course of a year or something like that. But people might decide, hey, I've gotten half of the crystals that are going to be coming. I'm going to unstake now because I don't want to be the last one. Because it'll be a balance of getting more crystals, but also getting your egg unstaked earlier for a chance, whatever. So I think it still creates some interesting mechanisms, but then it provides for a contract that could also be useful in a lot of other scenarios where people want to use staking to emit a token that does something within their ecosystem, right? And again, this could be any IBC token, a CW20 token, or a native token of another chain deposited via IBC, so that this could be tokens from an existing token that is already live, or it could be something that is purpose made for this NFT staking solution. So that's the goal with this. There are some open questions here in terms of like both on the Strange Clan side, the Strange Clan application. The one weakness to this methodology is that to some extent, well, I don't know. I say that. I was going to say the whales will benefit the most, and it doesn't create an even playing field, but that's not necessarily true because the people who have the most Strange Clan characters are going to get the most rare eggs anyways because they just have more. It doesn't really matter what the mechanism is. So there's no way to prevent that. But then on the flip side, there are, if there's any feedback on how we structure this, multiple vaults, right? The idea of having a single contract vault and a multiple contract vault, we're open to feedback on that, as well as how to structure this new staking contract. But those are the requirements, and right now we're basically looking for people to step up and express interest in being part of the SIG for this. We do have the smart contract developer. We're reaching out to Tasio, who was the original smart contract developer for the first vault. But we'd love to have more candidates. I know, again, we've talked a little bit about the ONFT crowd and how they have a staking vault. If they'd like to get involved in this, super open to it, but we just haven't been able to coordinate well with them. We've tried to set up some meetings and stuff. So that might not just work in terms of like timing and coordination. But if there's some other smart contract folks be interested in this, we are looking for some recommendations for a bounty that we could set up to make this worthwhile. We can get this live because again, I think this is not only a fun execution for the Strange Clan community and will incentivize a lot of volume on Passage, because the CW20 for this could also be a token on the Passage chain. But I think this is also something that would incentivize creators to leverage the Passage marketplace as well.
I think it's also worth noting that because this use case is primarily focused on Strange Clan first, we're completing this functionality that was required for Strange Clan, although it will be used for other use cases. Strange Clan transaction fees will essentially sponsor this bounty. So it won't be coming from the initially allocated 15 million tokens for the steering committee. It will be coming from the Strange Clan community marketplace funds, essentially.
Yeah, yeah. But again, there is still this purpose for it to be useful beyond Strange Clan, so it'll be a balance of those things.
For sure. I wanted to, moving on to the next thing, I wanted to invite Nicholas to share some updates just on the marketplace front end and the work he's been doing. Nicholas, if you'd like to join, otherwise, he just requested to speak. All right.
Yee.
He might be muted.
He's not muted. I don't hear him. Oh, you're all good. Discord loves to rug me too. You might just have to jump off the stage and come back. I don't know. Unless you can figure it out on your side, because sometimes Discord is just brutal when it comes to the rugs. I don't know if you saw, but at the beginning of the meeting, I had to like legit close the tab and come back. But Discord hates me particularly. I don't feel like anybody has had quite as much trouble with being muted at the outset of a call or a Discord hangout as I have.
It definitely felt very exclusive to you. Like it was a personal attack, not just like,
Oh,
a
yeah.
random passerby.
Exactly.
I was especially noting the fact that I very easily was able to get access to audio. So
It was not afforded to me.
I know that Nicholas has been generally okay, here we go. He's back.
Okay. Hello?
There we go. Boom. Loud and
Cool.
clear.
Yeah,
Mandatory
so
Discord rug.
yeah, I just wanted to give a quick update on where we are at with the Passage Marketplace. I'm not sure if everyone's familiar, but we've been doing a lot of cleaning with the original repository into making it a lot more friendly for open source contributors to be able to get in there and be able to just quickly get up and running with everything. I know that we're still relying on the I mean, it was really good to hear from CloudMos and the updates with the indexer, because that's going to play a large part with what we're doing with the marketplace. Um, and since that's also giving us some conflict with the original marketplace, but yeah, it's just we are making some progress on it, and it's getting to a state where it's almost ready for I guess anyone to be able to jump in there and be able to contribute. Yeah, I guess I didn't really have anything prepared into specifics. So if there's any questions, would love to be able to provide some clarity and answers.
No, that's good. That's really good. I mean, basically, some of the stuff that we've gone through so far in terms of the marketplace updates is really just like uh, it was. Let me see here. A lot of the front end stuff, sorting, right? So like
Yeah.
the collection list needs to be more obvious. So we have it open. 'Cause the collection list was like collapsed from the outset. There's a bunch of little front end things that we tweaked, and just some things that were not working on the front end. And those things are all in the new repository. Yeah, we're just going
Yep.
through the whole. We're going to be migrating so that the deployment is coming from the new open source repository as ASAP as possible. Lord willing, it'll be this week. So keep an eye out. We may have a notification that the marketplace is going to be under construction. But Mike was also just like, nah, we'll find a way to do it without that. But one way or the other, it should be happening within the next couple of days here. And next week we'll drop an update, just letting people know what's new, what's changed, and it will make it a lot easier for people to contribute, because now anybody can contribute through the open source repo, and that's what we'll be deploying from in this new setup.
And obviously with the other projects like NFT staking, we'll be doing the same thing. We will likely fork the repo and move it over so that anyone who commits to supporting that project can easily work on it. We're just kind of doing that one at a time as the needs arise.
Yeah, that's a great point. We probably consolidate the contract repo stuff into the Passage Marketplace GitHub as well.
Are there any other projects or priorities we should touch on right now?
Nope. I think that is it. And so, but if anybody has any questions, feel free to hit us up. That's been the main gist of it, is essentially pushing forward requirements for the NFT staking, moving forward with indexer stuff, and then general front end updates in the new repo. Once we have that stuff live, it'll just be easier to do more of those simple updates. Obviously, the biggest improvement to the front end will come with the implementation of the new indexer. And so Nicholas can work with the CloudMos team on that, making sure that all that connects up. But at the same time, always looking for feedback from the community. So like, we created that, proposed roadmap for the marketplace and some of the front end updates that we've completed thus far based off of user feedback. So if there is more feedback for the council, the steering committee, hit us up, drop your thoughts in the chat, and tag one of us, and we'll get it as something for us to look at during the steering committee meetings and put in front of one of the SIGs, because we want the marketplace to just be more accessible, more useful, and get some more creators building on the Passage marketplace. Gains. Go team, go.
All right. Well, if no
Yep.
one else has questions or comments, I think we can wrap it up.
Yup. Hey, Dragon, folks.
Yup, yup.
All right. Thanks,
Peace.
everybody.
See you.